Hi there. Welcome back to the Real Film Chronicles podcast. As always, I'm Nathan.
And I'm Brian.
And in this very special episode, we're going to be taking a look at a little film called 65.
Yeah, so I guess you checked this movie out recently. I mean, we're a little behind on this film because I think it came out in March of 2023, and you got an opportunity to check it out. I watched it, oh my goodness, months ago, so I'm going to be relying on your recent viewing to pick up a lot of details of this movie. But like, I saw this in your diary. It was rated pretty lowly, pretty low, I should say, and I think I gave it decently like average scores. So like, what happened to this film? Like, what was so awful about this movie? And you know, we're playing a little fast and loose here, but spoilers for the movie, of course, throughout, just in case. But yeah, hit me with your opinion on this film.
Yeah, so it looks like Adam Driver's back in space. So this time as an evil Sith Lord, he's just a regular working class dude with a sick daughter he's got to make some money for. So like the whole premise of the movie, I don't know what happened in the production of this thing, but it's just such a bizarre premise for a movie where you have this alien civilization of humans. They're obviously human.
Yeah. They're not trying to hide it in any means. Like, it's just
but
Adam Driver.
it's like,
he doesn't have pointy ears or anything. He just
nothing
is.
at all. Yeah, it could have been the Vulcans or something, or not Vulcans. Make Saturn urns or something. I don't know. But it's like 65 million years ago. So he crash lands on this planet. Turns out to be Earth. He has to fight his way to the escape ship, but he has to fight his way through, of course, dinosaurs, and he has to save a little girl. But it's just it's so weird. The whole concept of the movie is based essentially like on the American healthcare system, whereas daughter's sick. They don't have socialized healthcare in this utopian space society. It seems like a weirdly anachronistic American-centered plot device, which is like, okay, it's an American-made movie, but it's like, really the only conflict you can think of is your own terrible healthcare system, and that's going to be...
It's very relevant for a lot of people in America. I mean, obviously it's an American film.
I guess so. If you look at, sci-fi is meant to reflect and examine, current day issues in a different setting. It just, I don't know, if the more I thought about this movie, it was one of those movies where like I was watching it and I actually was going to rate it higher. But the more I thought about the movie, the more I was like, it just seems it just got stupider and stupider.
It's a dangerous road to go down sometimes is thinking about a movie.
Your problem, Nathan, is you think too much. But no, like I enjoyed the whole setup. I was enjoying it. I was like, you know what? Okay, they're ancient alien theory, like George Sakalakadoupalis, whatever his name is from the Ancient Alien show.
What?
The Ancient Aliens. You ever see that show? Yeah. George Zakadoupalis.
I don't know his name. I thought you were just trying to like spitball a random name or something.
I don't know. I can't remember. I think it's a Greek last name, but it's very long. I guess we should look it up. I don't know. Doesn't matter.
Keep going. We don't have time for that.
I don't got time to this. I don't got time to bleed. I was like, you know what? It's like, okay, I get there's a certain pathos there. His daughter's sick. He's got to take on this job that's going to take him away for 2 years, but he gets triple pay so he can pay for the medical bills. I was like, okay, I get it's something human you can relate to. And then he's on this ship transporting people in cryosleep, but he's not in cryosleep, which I don't understand. Is like, is it so far away that they have to be in cryosleep so he's going to be really old? Or just like people just are so fucking bored in this future they don't have TV or anything to watch. There's like, just put me to sleep for the journey.
See, maybe I'm misremembering it, but I thought like he was like the only employee of this ship, and it would be his job to pilot it the entire time. Meanwhile, like his passengers might just be like a bunch of rich people trying to get from point A to point B, and they don't have. I mean, why waste 2 years of their life in the trip when they could just go into cryosleep and be the same age coming out? That's kind of the impression I had. Maybe I
guess, but like cryosleep.
These are gaps that I may be filling in myself.
But just for 2 years? I mean, if it was like a 10-year trip, it's like when you start talking in decades, like sure, cryosleep, perfect. You age slower, I guess.
But if they perfected cryosleep, I wouldn't want to sit there for 2 years traveling through the emptiness of space when I have the option of just like going to sleep for 2 years, right?
Yeah, I guess so. It's never really explained, but I was like, I can buy that. That's fine, whatever. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but it's not. It doesn't take me out of the movie. One of the first things that did take me out of the movie was this ship is on autopilot and it senses this giant asteroid belt, and they're not near it yet, or they're just on the periphery. But it's like, why program the ship just to warn you? Why not program the ship like if you're coming up on that, plot a course around it automatically, or just stop the ship until the pilot comes up? Why keep going forward through, the ship obviously knows this is super dangerous. It's getting hit by these rocks. Who programmed this stupid ship? I don't know. But
did Adam Driver have the choice in this to like purge a bunch of the passengers to like save the ship? Or am I thinking of like Pitch Black?
Yeah, I think you're thinking of Pitch Black. So this one, it was just like, he's the pilot. He's like, no, he runs up there and he's like, I'm going to pilot this thing and get people safe. But they get hit by bigger asteroids. And then the crash lands on this planet, which turns out to be Earth, which they reveal in a title card, which was like, it felt really, really weird. It's like 15 minutes in, I think, where the title card of the movie comes up and it's like 65 million years ago, Adam Driver lands on Earth. Not Adam Driver, but
this character, whatever. Yeah.
No, Adam Driver actually went back in time to film this movie.
He's playing himself as an alien 65 million years ago.
This is what Adam Driver does. It's like Adam Driver is a 65 million year old alien.
You can't help but think that reveal was supposed to come later in the movie, and it's just like they went all in on the marketing and be like, 65 million years ago on Earth, a human came to Earth and like shot up a bunch of dinosaurs. It was like give away the whole thing in the previews.
Yeah, and I was reading online, apparently some people in some forums were originally part of some of the test audiences, and they're saying, oh yeah, that reveal didn't happen till later on. It's like, oh, then early on in the movie, you're seeing just hints of creatures and you can't tell if they're dinosaurs yet.
Oh, okay.
So I think it was meant to be a reveal later on in the movie. It was like, they're dinosaurs. And then just like, also the meteorite that killed all the dinosaurs, they happen to have crash landed like a day before this thing lands. I was like, this is just, of all the times.
Well, there's coincidences, and then there's stuff you have to move your plot forward.
Yeah, but he crash lands. All the cryogenic pods get ripped out, and apparently, according to the sensors, everybody's dead. But then he finds one of the pods, and there's a little girl alive in there, and she doesn't speak English. Universal translator's busted, and to communicate with her in a ship that's surrounded by all this futuristic technology, he pours some fucking paprika on the table and starts trying to draw these random symbols to try to communicate with her. Take out your fucking iPad, bro. You can use the drawing app on there, can't you, if you need to draw? It was like, you telling me like the universal communicator is a separate, complete device. You can have you don't have fucking Google Translate on your future phones. Like,
it's true. It's like we get kind of spoiled by like our technology, where it's like our little Google Translate phone in our phones that everyone has would be able to function without like the mothership being available, right? It's just like...
Yeah, but that's the thing. 65 wasn't made back in the 60s before this technology existed. Like, if it was a Star Trek thing, it's like, yeah, in the 60s, they were just taking... It was a crapshoot. They were just taking wild guesses about what might be possible. Yeah. But you're kind of limited to your own line of sight. But like, 65 was made in this year of our Lord 2023. It was like, we know, like, everyone's walking around with a smart device. It's like, it was just a contrived way to kind of breed conflicts. And it's like, they don't speak the same language. It's like, this hard-boiled tough guy has to take care of the young child and escort them on a mission. It's like, oh my God, is it like, you can't think of any other way to have some conflict in there? You gotta have the stupid language thing, and then the paprika on the tables. Like, I see your fucking power. Like, the power's still on the fucking ship. You got all your fucking computer screens. You can fucking do something to communicate with this girl better than a paprika on the fucking table. And it's like, he's just drawn a triangle.
But here's the thing.
It's like, it's supposed to be
Adam Driver, all he does, I mean, in this, I was going to say in the future, this is the distant past.
The future past, yeah.
The future past, the society, this is just like a job for him to like, to babysit the supercomputer flying through space. Like, he may not have any actual skills. Like, pilots have skills, right? But in this reality, like this society here, he may not have any. It's just like, it might just be a babysitter. Just like normally you just push a few buttons and your job's done. You just literally have to sit there for 2 years to make sure that like nobody accidentally wakes up. And if they do, you got to make them some oatmeal in the morning or something, right? But it's like, this guy might be dumb as rocks in this,
he might
in this
be
society.
the equivalent of like a stewardess, or not to say that these people
No.
are dumb, but like maybe
Yeah,
like a long haul truck driver, right? It was like, you don't have to be super skilled. You get your license, but you don't have to be as skilled as like a pilot, right? Long haul truck driver, or maybe like a steward or flight attendant. Maybe he's the equivalent of a flight attendant, where you don't have to be like, you don't have to have a license to fly. You're just like, oh yeah, I'm just there to like make some oatmeal for these guys, rich people, when they wake up.
You can utilize everything in the ship, but he doesn't know how to like fix things in the ship.
Yeah.
I mean, there's different. Yeah. I mean, I don't want to go down that road too much because it's like, this is a crazy movie. And he does shoot a lot of dinosaurs. He does have a pretty sweet laser rifle or some kind of like shooting something.
Yeah. And like, there's some really cool ideas in here, but like, there's some really strange choices. Like when he first crash lands, there's a couple weird red herrings that never pay off. Like he's got this injury in his side that he kind of fixes up, which like they keep showing like, oh, it's getting infected later on, but like nothing ever comes of it, and he gets off the planet okay. It never hinders him really. It's just like this, like, oh, I thought it was going to come into play. It was like, oh, it keeps getting more and more infected, and he's going to sacrifice himself because he's already dying. He's just going to sacrifice to save the girls. Like, no, he gets off the planet. Is fine. And another one, he gets off the ship to explore when he first crash lands, and he's in a bit of a swamp, and you keep seeing hints of like, oh, there's this creature that's like in the water. He doesn't see it. I'm thinking, oh, there's going to be a big showdown, and this thing's going to pop out. I was like, no, nothing happens. There's just this giant creature just hunting around. It's like, no, he's fine. Okay, then why show that to me? Like the whole idea of the Chekhov's gun, right? Or setup and payoff. Just basic storytelling foundational elements that just, I don't know whether it was like maybe lost in the edits or something was cut out of this. It felt really kind of choppy, especially early on, where it's like, oh yeah, the injury and this creature, I don't know. And then when he finds a girl and they're kind of running through the woods and they hear they don't see it at the time, but it's a dinosaur coming to eat them. They just stand there and stare for like 2 minutes. Like, what the fuck, man? It's like, I think just basic, I don't, fight or flight, or fight, flight, or freeze, I guess. Maybe they were frozen in terror for 2 goddamn minutes. Like
2 minutes must be an exaggeration. This movie's not that long. It's only 92 minutes long to begin with.
Half of it is them standing around looking stupefied into the fucking bush as these, as obviously large creatures are coming to kill them. I don't know. And then it's like weird. I don't know what the message was for this, but at one point they rescue like a little baby dinosaur out of this little tar pit. I was like, and it's like this like kind of Disney looking little dinosaur. It's like, oh, you think, oh, they're going to befriend this dinosaur. It's going to help them out later. No, he walks down the path and he gets attacked by a bunch of other dinosaurs. He's killed immediately.
Yeah.
I was like,
nature, it's gnarly, man.
What was the point of that? Why make it like, why give that dinosaur so much personality? Why spend that much time? It's like a good like 5-10 minute sequence on saving the dinosaur and then hiding from the smaller dinosaurs. Like, but why? It was like they were trying to pad the runtime. Because like the land, their escape vessel was only, they could have had it any distance away. It was only 15 kilometers away.
Yeah.
Which also interesting that this ancient civilization also developed kilometers and used the same word for it. But that's, that's one of those coincidences, I guess. But like, it's only like, this movie's just about a 15-kilometer hike. That's not even, you can do that in a fucking day. That's not even that.
Yeah,
that
but
far.
like not in prehistoric, like whatever continent they're on. Like the jungle's dense.
Well, it'd be Pangea. There's only one continent then, right?
Pangea. There you go.
Or were the continents separated by that point? I don't know. The
movie I don't know science. Jeez.
What planet are we on now? Jupiter.
It's not like listen, I don't know anything about anything. The movie didn't tell me what the continent was. It didn't matter. They were just 15 kilometers away. Was it it was a piece of their ship that they were going to, or was it like a different crash ship from before?
No, because the ship had broken up as they were crash landing. And so like the escape pod was in the other half of the ship, the back half of the ship. It was in the tail section with the other lost survivors, with the others, I guess. It was on the second island, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, they're going through, and then, oh yeah, what happened? The T-Rex comes in, it was a scene directly from Jurassic Park 2 where they're in a cave with water pouring down and then the T-Rex comes in. I was like, okay, yeah, I get it.
Why reinvent the wheel? Just take from the greats.
Sure, but they fall in that cave and then it's like, okay. And they go through the cave.
That scene I had an issue with because it's like, or they're in the cave, right? And he has this technology to like dig out of the cave. So they start trying to find ways to just like dig through the rock. But there's an entrance on the other side. If you just spend the night in this thing, that T-Rex is probably gone. Like he's not camping out.
Yeah. Especially when you shot him in the face with your laser gun. And then like, he's angry. He's not coming back here. You camp out there.
But these T-Rexes are pretty vindictive. Like I think does that same one come back and like gets them at the end there?
That wasn't the T-Rex. That was the 4-legged fake dinosaur that never existed. There's 2 T-Rexes that attacked them at the end, and there's that 4-legged dude who comes back. It was the 4-legged guy who attacked them first.
Oh,
because I remember reading online. It's like, oh yeah, that 4-legged one. That was just like that was pure fantasy. That wasn't based on like the iguanodon or anything. That was just a random dinosaur they made up.
Fully real dinosaurs in this movie?
No, not
at least not that we've discovered yet.
Yeah, they didn't call John Hammond for this one.
I didn't realize they were going to like pull a card from like the Noah book movie where like the world's going to get flooded and that gives us an excuse to put in like a bunch of make believe creatures who didn't make the ark, right?
Okay.
It's like
so that's why there's no more Cyclopses. Yeah, that's
exactly. It's just like they all got washed away.
But no, like, it was weird. Like they went exploring the caves, and then the girl crawled through, and then the cave collapsed, and then he just walked out and found another fucking exit somewhere. I was like,
yeah.
So you just sent the girl through there for no reason. You could your little map thingy there could have found you the way out together.
At what point did he discover that his daughter had already died on his trip?
Yeah, he already knew by the time he had rescued the other little girl because she was going through the memory tapes, which again seemed super antiquated compared with technology we have now. But it was going through and it's like, oh, she missed her dad and she was happy. And then she's like, oh, I hate you for leaving. And then there's like one that's in the hospital. And then there's one where she's kind of sick in bed and you don't quite see it, but you're like, oh, she died. And then later on you see the one where it's like the mother's like, yeah, she passed away in her sleep. So you kind of see, because there's a scene early on where he goes to commit suicide. And I'm like, didn't make sense for the character at the time. What we knew about the character at the time.
Yeah.
He's like, oh yeah, he sends that message like, oh, we crash landed. You know, all the cryopods are destroyed. I'm the only survivor. Send help. But then he deletes that one and says like, we crashed. I'm the only survivor. Don't send any help at all. And then he goes out to shoot himself and decides not to, obviously, or the movie wouldn't happen. But it's like, okay, then it was weird again, the way they were telling that story. There's a way to do that to keep that ambiguity, but I was confused more than anything at that when he went to commit suicide. I'm like, you just set up this whole thing about how much you love your daughter and your family. And you're doing this for your family, and you're just gonna kill yourself right away. Like, what the heck is going on?
It's grim. It's a grim film.
I don't know.
And it gets really grim because they got the asteroid coming down, and that basically becomes the plot device to like hurry the heck up and get off this planet, right? That's where all the tension comes from. You got these make-believe dinosaurs attacking them, and they got to get into the ship, and it's just like, are they going to make it or not? And at that point, you don't really care if they make it or not. You're not really emotionally invested in these 2 characters, but
yeah, they walk a bit, get attacked by some dinosaurs, walk a bit, get attacked by some dinosaurs, go down in some easily escapable caves that they separate for some reason. Then they climb up this mountain, which apparently all it takes is like, at one point, like the hardest part is like she stands on his shoulders and is able to climb up this cliff. And it's like, that was the hardest part of the climb. It looked like a Sunday hike to get up this mountain. But anyway, they get up there, they get to the pod and she realizes that, oh, her family was dead. Through his paprika hieroglyphics, he had somehow communicated that, oh, your parents are at this site on the mountain. And so she thought she was going to see her family. But she sees a bunch of cryopods out back and she realizes, oh, her family's not there. They're dead. And then they have a little moment where they talk to each other and they can't understand each other. So their confessions are basically meaningless. Although to give credit, Adam Driver is still like, he must have had to go see a chiropractor after this movie because he was carrying the whole back. He was carrying this whole movie on his back. Right. It was just like, he was giving it his all. Like, I gotta say, Adam Driver, I love watching him. He's great in everything he does, but just like the material was just not there to work with. Like the emotion, you felt the emotion of like, oh, he lost his daughter, and like this was a new surrogate daughter, which was like a little bit too perfect. It's like, oh, it would have been kind of awkward if it's like, oh, they got there. It's like, oh, the parents are still alive. I was like, oh, yeah, but we kind of have this bond now, so I'm like kind of her new father. So yeah, we're gonna have to leave you behind or something. I don't know. I don't know. These perfect pieces, like, oh, I lost my daughter, but I got a new daughter. It all worked out well. It's like, come on, guys, this is so hackneyed and cliched.
The new daughter is played by Ariana Greenblatt, who actually has quite a filmography.
I've seen her before and stuff.
She was in the new Barbie movie. She was in Infinity War.
As who?
She was in Infinity War as young Gamora.
Okay, she had green makeup on. I wouldn't have recognized her. Yeah.
Love and Monsters. I'm not sure if you checked that movie out. Scoob, one of the animated movies. Bad Moms Christmas. Probably done a couple voices. Boss Baby, but she's got a big lineup of movies under her already. It's just like she's gonna go places, and hopefully 65 isn't too much of a stumble, like secure future roles.
Yeah, I think she was absolutely fine in the movie. She did great. Again, like, she did really great considering they just gave her, I don't think it was a real language either. I think they just gave her a bunch of like, it was the standard kind of alien nonsense language where they just gave her a bunch of random syllables to say.
Yeah.
And she was just like babbling stuff, but she still got across the emotion that the scene needed. The actors were great. That's not the issue.
Now, I'm just looking it up here, and the budget of this movie, what do you think the budget of 65 was?
100 million.
$45 million.
45 million. Okay.
Which I thought the movie looked pretty good.
Movie looked good
considering
too.
A budget.
I'll give it that.
The dinosaurs
too, yeah.
looked good. Everything looked good. I mean, I think it was shot well enough for the most part. I think it's ultimately like the story that, you know, all the plot is just kind of like, it's kind of uninspired, right? It's pretty run of the mill for the most part. It definitely does not overstay its welcome. It's 92 minutes long. It's like, this could have been a 2.5 hour movie that really, really gets under your skin.
Yeah.
But it comes and goes pretty quick.
They were smart to keep it as short as possible. And then when they get off the planet, the escape pod just goes up. They hold hands and the movie just kind of cuts. There's no ennui. There's no falling action. There's no kind of emotional resolution.
Do we get to see the asteroid hitting Earth though?
Yeah. There's a big,
that's
bright explosion. Yeah, there's big explosions for all.
As you can see, this movie was very memorable. Like 4 or 5 months later, I'm just remembering all these details about it.
You remember all the details? You're just remembering Earth's history. There were dinosaurs and a meteorite crashed into them.
Yeah.
That was in the
Okay,
movie.
I see.
It's the beauty of the movie, I guess. I don't know. I was gonna give it. Initially, I had it pegged to like 2 stars, but the more I thought about it, I dropped it down to 1.5 stars out of 5.
1.5 stars for 65.
What did you give it?
It looks like I gave it 3 stars, which I understand is too high, because I've just watched some movies recently, and I was like, these are 3-star movies, and they're going to be more memorable than 65. But here's the thing. You watch a movie like this on like, just like a weekend afternoon or something. It's like 90 minutes, comes and goes pretty quickly. I did not see this in theaters. I'm glad I didn't see this in theaters. It would be like way too short. And I think the initial buzz around it, like reviews, were not generous. So it's like, this is a theater skip. But seeing this at home, it was just like, all right, that was a movie and it's fine. It was like, I like seeing dinosaurs on screen for the most part, which really appeals to my inner child in some way. And I like the sci-fi, and I kind of like the idea that it's just like people have regular jobs and they have regular issues like healthcare, probably like funding issues in space. And it's like, it has that a very slight echo of like, okay, this guy is barely a pilot of this craft that goes through space, but it's like, it reminds me of Alien, where it's just like, these guys are like space truckers, right? Like they're skilled people doing a job that like, just take away the wheels and put on giant rockets, and it's like they're in space now, right? But this movie, I'll probably, if I watch it again, it would probably drop down. I don't think I'm going to watch this again, so it might just be immortalized at a 3-star rating for myself.
Yeah, one of the only things that got me through this movie. Can I mention one other stupid thing that happened?
Yes.
There were a lot of stupid things that happened, but when they went to Camp for the night on their 15-kilometer trek, he put up these like warning beacons. I thought it was supposed to like protect them, I guess. Maybe it was just supposed to warn them that something was coming in close. But those warning beacons didn't do a gosh darn thing, because Adam Driver wakes up, looks over at the girl, and she's like, looks like she's foaming at the mouth, like she's having a seizure or something. But he turns her over and looks in her mouth. It's like there's like a centipede in there, or some like ancient bug in her mouth. It's like those beacons didn't do shit, man. It's like there's as a warning device, they didn't help.
Yeah.
Or as like I thought it was gonna be like a force field came up around them. Like
I initially thought it was gonna be a force field, like you were gonna see like a bug go up against it, and be like a laser shoots out, or just like an invisible laser shield or something. They
were just there for like, it was just like Christmas lights apparently.
Like, think about how cool the scene would have been. Like a big T-Rex wanders in. He's just like, we got these two perfectly wonderful pieces of meat sitting there sleeping, and there's a bunch of lights around, but who cares about those lights? He goes in for the kill, like he's gonna reach in with his mouth, and the lasers like come into effect, like the invisible force field just start eating away his teeth as he's crunching down. It just like disintegrates his teeth, and it just like his lower jaw falls off because it's being lasered off. And be like, that would be pretty cool. Yeah, but no, we didn't get any of that. Sorry.
No, but anyway, one of the only things that kind of kept me focused during this movie was every once in a while when Adam Driver was alone in this world, or was standing on a piece of wreckage with his kind of space gear and a space gun. I was looking at him, I was like, oh my God, he could play Commander Shepard in a Mass Effect movie. I was like looking at there's a certain shots like, oh, this is Commander Shepard when he finds the wreckage of the original Normandy, or like this is Commander Shepard when he's exploring this planet. It's like, oh, I was imagining my own movie over top of this movie with Adam Driver playing Commander Shepard in my own version of Mass Effect movie. I was like, yeah. But if you're out there, BioWare, if you want to make a Mass Effect movie, Adam Driver's your Commander Shepard. You heard it from me first.
Man,
this is it.
You know you're in trouble when you start thinking about Mass Effect in a space movie, and it was just like, yeah, no, everything's going to fall by the wayside in that movie.
I've never made a fan edit trailer or anything. It was like, there's a lot of scenes in this movie. I could take this and probably some stuff from Star Wars with Adam Driver, and it's like I could cut together like a fake Mass Effect movie trailer out of everything that exists.
Man,
that was what I was thinking while watching 65 for a large part of it. It's like that's how I zoned out after a while. It was just
sounds like someone's got to go play Mass Effect after this.
Yeah, it's a given.
And just for the record, before we say goodbye, this does have a Letterboxd rating average amongst its users of 2.2.
2.2.
So it's skewing pretty low.
Yeah.
But that is 65. See it or not, it doesn't really matter. You're not missing anything if you don't watch it. And, continue on with better sci-fi. Got anything else to add before we go?
Swing and a miss. Give Adam Driver more movies.
Yeah.
Make a Mass Effect movie, somebody. And if you got literally nothing better to do, sure. Check out 65. Put it on a rainy Sunday afternoon when you're lying down to have a nap. It'll put you to sleep.
Live long and prosper.
May the force be with you.
And that's a wrap on another episode. As always, we appreciate you hanging out with us today and taking the time to listen to our podcast. We have a lot of fun putting these together and hope that you get some enjoyment out of them as well. You can find us online over at realfilmchronicles.com, where we have not just a repository of podcast episodes, but many of our written reviews as well. If you're up to it, you can follow us on Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram as well. All the links should be within the show notes here. So until next time, take care of yourself and others, and be sure to enjoy your film journey.